get my 6. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the most amazing homesteading channel on the planet. It has nothing to do with homesteading off the grid. Happy October. We're in the middle of it now as of this recording. It's a little earlier in the day than I usually make these videos, so forgive me for squinting. It's actually morning. The sun's up over there instead of back here. A couple reasons I'm doing this. A lot of folks have been watching these videos lately that have been seeing potentially a Bigfoot Sasquatch in the backdrop, moving around in the woods behind me. A lot of other folks believe it's just shadows, limbs moving. So I intentionally am making this video today with the sun shining in front of me back there, because the shadows would cast that way. So if you see anything casting this way or moving this way, it's not a shadow. All right, that out of the way. It's October. Halloween is upon us, just as of this recording, less than 2 weeks away. The veil is thin. But I'm going to talk to you today about something more terrifying than anything that could ever happen on a Halloween night. And yeah, I'm watching Michael Myers and Ghostface. We're going through all the screens. We do this thing every October where we'll just watch the franchise horror films, and it's fun. It's a blast. But this is scarier than Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers. It's a combination of AI, artificial intelligence, and one of the uglier parts of human nature, which is greed. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a series of events today, and you can put them together as I have and see where it is we are today and where we're heading. And it might make sense to you. So we all know who Elon Musk is, right? The world's wealthiest man, SpaceX, Tesla, all these things. He invented PayPal, created PayPal. Back when I was like, well, because we're the same age, Elon Musk and myself. I think he's a couple years older than me. But I mean, I remember being introduced to the internet, like my last year of college back in the 90s, thinking, who's ever going to use this? Well, at the same time I was being introduced to it, Elon Musk at that time was creating PayPal so people could do, financial transactions over the net and not have to send out checks and money orders. And I think the guy's a genius, okay? I don't know a whole lot about his personal life. You always hear oh, he's a weirdo, he's a what this, he's that. I think the man's a genius. Clearly, and yes, he came from money. His family in South Africa had money. Let me tell you this, that is no excuse for being disgustingly successful and super wealthy. Coming from money, seriously. People will bash a guy like that and say, well, if he hadn't come from money, he wouldn't have made it to where he is. Yeah, he would have. A guy like that could have come from the trenches, brah. He would have made it, because he's got something that most people don't. It's called the fire in the belly, okay? I'm going to quote Henry Ford. Once upon a time, he was the wealthiest man in the world. He didn't invent the vehicle. He didn't invent cars. But what he did create was the assembly line. So he made the process of making cars more efficient, quicker, less timely. And what he also did is he created the 5-day work week. He decided to give his workers the weekend off. And he priced his cars to where they were affordable for those who worked, because he saw that this would be a great way to increase sales. If he basically catered to his workers and said, hey, I'm going to give you 2 weeks or 2 days a week off, because remember, back then people still work 7 days a week. And I'm going to make these things we're making here that you guys are admiring so much affordable for you. So boom, car sales boomed. So anyway, they asked Henry Ford once, you're the richest man in the world. If somebody came along and took away all your wealth, what would you do? He laughed at the question. He said, well, I'd make it back in half the time. And they said, what do you mean? I mean, everything, you lost it all. He says, hey, I would spend more time doing the things I know that worked, and I wouldn't spend any time doing the things that I know don't work. And I've figured these things out over the years getting where I am. That's the kind of guy Henry Ford was. That's the kind of guy Elon Musk is, okay? His political views, his weird idiosyncrasies aside, whatever, if that's even a word. If not, I want to make sure I get credit for making it up. But he has warned us about artificial intelligence for years. And I've often wondered, why is he so scared of this? And he's pretty much given a blanket statement about how it can destroy mankind as we know it. I have come across some information just in the last 24 hours that kind of made me say, that's what Elon Musk is warning us about. but it's not necessarily something new that's going to destroy us. It's how AI is being used to enhance or intensify a certain ugly part of human nature, being greed. All right, let's get into it. You with me so far? It took me 5 minutes to say I like Elon Musk, and I found some data that kind of backs up what he's warning us about. Now, here we go. There's a conversation that my family and I often have. Me, my beautiful bride Dearly, aka Giggly Girl, and our son Daniel. Now, for those of you who are new to the channel who might not know this, my wife Dearly is Filipina. She's from the Philippines. We met while I was in the Philippines on vacation. Didn't seek her out with one of those love sites or whatever. Happened to be over there. Met her, knew instantly that is the woman I want to spend the rest of my life with. That was about 15 years ago, okay? We're still together. We have a 14-year-old son. We lived in the Philippines until our son was 5. He was 3 months away from starting school. We came to the U.S. so he could be educated here. Ironically, last year, 2 years ago, we pulled him out of the U.S. public school system because it has changed so much in the last decade. We're privately homeschooling him, staying in the U.S. because we like the quality of life. And plus, we're fortunate enough that's our property, okay? Yeah. We ain't leaving. All right? Now, we do spend our winters in the Philippines or go over parts of the time of the year. But my point is this. Here's the conversation we'll often have. There will be times when we'll be out and about, and my wife, who's now a U.S. citizen, by the way, she's going to vote next month, for her first time ever, she'll make this statement. She'll make the comment, America is the greatest country in the world. I still can't believe I'm here. I'm so blessed to be here. I'm so grateful. I don't take any of this for granted. And nothing disgusts my immigrant wife more than when she hears so many Americans who've never left America, who have always been here, who have always had their basic needs met, or at least, if they're not, they know there's somewhere they can go to get help, because there is. She doesn't like it when they cry. They cry about their first world problems, their high class problems. She's like, these people need to go to where I'm from or any other country like that and spend 30 days, not on the 5-star tourist resort, but out in the communities with the people, living like the people, then come back to the U.S. and gripe and complain about all your first world high class problems. You'll see there's quite a difference, right? So she'll be saying America's the greatest country in the world. Then our son will pipe up because he's a Gen Z and he's being told, oh no, don't you dare think that this is the greatest country in the world. That's called nationalism and that's evil and that's terrible. Mind you, while the same people saying this love it when they get a camera angle of people in Brazil or the Philippines or Taiwan or Uganda celebrating their pride in their nation, in their country, in their culture. Oh, look at this, isn't this wonderful? These same people that will tell you it's a bad thing to be proud to be an American or to take pride in America. Look at these wonderful, Indonesians. They have nothing, they're so poor, but they have their family and their love for each other, and they know they'll eat 3 times a day, and they're proud of their heritage, and isn't this a beautiful thing? Yeah, as long as we don't do it, right? So my son will bring that up because it's what he hears. It's what he hears. And here's the story I tell, and this is a true story, and this will get us into the real live assault we're going through right now with AI, okay? I'll tell my son, no, son, I do believe America's the greatest country in the world, because he'll start talking about all the wonderful things we do in the Philippines, and I love the Philippines, and I love our Filipino family over there, but trust me, there's plenty of it. There's some of it that I can't even discuss on this social media platform, or I will be banned from the platform for being culturally insensitive. Yes, but it's funny. Filipinos in the Philippines can showcase those parts of their culture, and they go viral. Crazy, right? That's how it goes. Hey, don't think the Plains Fields Fair is fair, and don't think it's always stacked in people who look like mine favor. People who look like me, it's not always stacked in my favor. And I use this example. One time, my best friend Ray over there, the man that introduced me to my beautiful bride Dearly, aka Giggly Girl. Trigger alert! I'm going to sip my coffee. Yeah, some people crash out when I sip coffee on here, and that's a Gen Z term for lose their crap, by the way. So anyway, my friend Ray and I, we would just go for these walks every day, look around at the places, the people. Sometimes we'd walk along the sea. We'd like to go through the little barangays or neighborhoods just to see what was going on back there. And they'd always have these little eateries, and you might get some of the best food you've ever had in your life, cooked by some old woman that has a stall 4 feet by 4 feet, selling it, the food right there for, you can get a whole meal for $1 US, and it's just delicious. So we were in one such place once, and we were drinking beer. We were having some cold ones. It was 95 degrees, like pretty much every day in the Philippines, unless it's rainy season, and the temps might drop to 85. Sitting there drinking beer, just watching people on the street. This was close to a bus terminal, so there was a lot of people coming and going, a lot of travelers. So the guy that owned the place comes over. He's bringing us our beers, giving us our beers. Oh, happy to have you in here, you foreigners, because that's what they call you. If you're not a Filipino, they call you a foreigner. Their word, not ours. I know here we call you a guest or a tourist, whatever term applies, but something that makes you feel more welcome. Foreigner being a word that means somebody who is not in his land or her land. Somebody who really, it's not that you don't belong, but you're not one of us. We expect you to just go home sometime. And that's really frustrating for those of us who have lived there for years. Ray's been over there for like 16, 17 years now. I lived there once for 5 years straight. And that was so frustrating because I learned the language, learned the culture, ate the food, seen more of the country than 99% of the people. My doctor in the U.S. is Filipina. I've been to more places in her country than she has. Yet you're never accepted because I can't change the color of my skin. So I might have been there for 2 years, 3 years. And when I would step outside my door, it didn't matter that I knew the language, didn't matter that I knew the culture. I was going to be treated like somebody who just stepped off the plane in Manila and whose first time it was in the Philippines. And by that, what do I mean? Well, sometimes it wasn't that great. Sometimes you're heckled and harassed, made fun of. Oftentimes, not always, but often, the price you're expected to pay for things is going to be multiple times higher than the fair market value. It's called the skin tax. It's assumed that if you're a white foreigner, you're a rich American, and you should just pay more because you have it and they don't. And by the way, our government just gives us all our money. We don't do anything to earn it. Yeah, we don't sit up here in the woods and tell long-winded stories 4 or 5 days a week to earn our money, to buy our homes. No, our government just gives it to us, right? Or do jobs that are even harder than this and take more time. So anyway, Ray and I are at this bar. The guy comes over, hey, happy to have you here. And this is always a telltale sign. You got to get your guard up. When they're happy to have you, yeah, it's because they're making plans for you. So anyway, guy drops off our beers, goes out into the street, and he just waves over a couple of young, attractive women. Now, mind you, I was with Dearly at the time, and Ray had a girlfriend. We weren't going out for hanky-panky, okay? So this guy sends these girls over, and they say, oh, hi, we love foreigners. Can we talk to you to practice our English? And we're like, sure. They go, oh, will you buy us a little pop cola? It was a 10 pesos drink. 10 pesos being, well, whatever. $1 worth about 55 pesos right now, so 5.5, whatever. It's very cheap. It was cheap, right? So we're like, sure, we'll buy them some pop colas. Well, so they're sitting there, we're talking. The guy's still out on the street waving girls over. And I'm like, here's what I thought he was doing. I figured he was going to pimp them out. He was going to tell us, hey, give me this amount of maybe 1,000 pesos. You can take the girl out of here, and you give them however much but we were not there for that. We're walking around, hanging out at a little eatery at a bus station. This was not a strip bar. This was not a girls' bar. There were none of these establishments located in that sector of town, all right? So just to fast forward, there's maybe 6 girls there at one point. They're all drinking these pop colas. We're buying them for 10 pesos, right? Well, I look around and I notice these girls are taking like one sip, drinking 20% of the bottle of soda, if that, and putting it down and ordering another one. I said to my friend Ray, I said, Ray, something's going on here. And his guard was up too. He had been there longer than I had been there. And so he knew it. And now he's really he's really good at watching for this stuff, but not judging the entire culture or all the people because these things happen over there. Because they would happen in any non-white third world country. Okay? It's not like exclusive to the Philippines. 80% of the world is made up of non-white, poor people. And when Caucasian travelers from Western nations go there, it's often just assumed they're rich. How can we get... I mean, watch Slumdog Millionaire. I mean, watch any movie that's set in these places. That's really what it's like. So you just always got to be prepared for that. You got to be ready to say no. But so many of the locals that are really good at scamming are really good at getting you in a situation where you don't have the opportunity to say no. So Ray agreed with me. Yes, something's going on here. We don't know what it is, but let's get our bill and get out of here. Let's just leave, tell the girls, hey, we got to go pick up our wives or whatever. So we asked for the bill. Ray and I both had 3 beers that were 40 pesos each, and there was probably 15 drinks on there at 10 pesos each. So 40 times 8 is 320, and then say 15 times 10 pesos is only 150. So less than 500 pesos, which is less than 10 US dollars. Okay, 550 pesos is $10. So it should have been $10 expenditure. Excuse me. The guy comes over, gives us our bill, and it was something like 5,000 pesos, which is like $100, right? So we go from $10 to 100. Well, I refused to pay it. I said, I'm not paying that. I said, well, how do you justify this? He had those $10 pop sodas priced up to like 250 pesos or something like that. Some outrageous number. He says, oh, you were buying ladies' drinks, and so that's why that costs so much. Well, here's the deal. When you go to a adult establishment, a men's club in the Philippines, that's how it works. It's night. The girls come over. They're like almost all the way naked. If not, there are some places where they're completely nude. Hey, parental advisory here. And you have to order a drink like every 30 minutes. It costs like 300 pesos just to get them to stay with you and talk. Okay, that's how it goes. This clearly was not that place or one of those places. It was a little eatery at a bus terminal. These girls were fully dressed, as were the thousands of people that were coming and going around us, right? So I said, this is not right. I'm not paying this. And he smiled, very friendly, because they're so friendly over there. Told me that if I don't pay, he was going to call the police and have me arrested. Or no, he's going to call the police and immigration, have me arrested, thrown in a cell in immigration where I would be held until I paid. And I laughed. I said, you can't do that. My friend Ray, who had been there longer than me, looked at me and he says, actually, Kevin, they can. He says, and this is one of the things I struggled with for my first couple of years living there. He says, you have no rights here. You are not a Filipino citizen, so you have no rights. We paid and we left. And Ray said, the best thing we can do, we have to pay this. He says, but what we've got to do is we will never come back here. And he said this in front of the owner. And he says, and we will tell every foreigner that we know in this city, this was down in Davao City in Mindanao, not to come here. And he told and the guy's smiling. He says, oh, it's okay. It's okay to me if you never come back. Yes, it's okay if you never come back. We get plenty of business. Yes. You tell your foreigner friends, that's fine, because you don't know them all. Many will come. And he didn't care. He was this old spider in a web who just, lured folks in with that smile, come have a cold beer. And oh, by the way, you're going to have to pay the price of a car over there to get out of this establishment. So we paid. I was angry. I was upset. I said a few choice words, and the guy just smiled and said, yeah, thanks for coming. Yeah, appreciate the money. I just made more money off of you suckers today than I'll make in a week. And that's just how it goes. So this is a story I tell my son. The next day, I approached a police officer, a Davao City police officer, who was at a traffic stop. And I said, sir, can I ask you a question? Something happened to me yesterday, and I would like to know what I can do about it, if there's anything you can do about it to help me. He says, sure, what is it? I told him the story I just told you. He spoke great English, and he said, he was about my age. I was in my mid-30s at the time. This guy was in his early 30s probably. He says, sir, my parents live in Chicago. He says, I visit Chicago at least once a year on a tourist visa. My parents have, they're sponsoring me to get moved over. He's probably in the U.S. now. He's probably here. He's probably if he's in law enforcement, we're happy to have him. He was a great guy. He was, so I told him the situation. He tells me this. He says, this is the best thing I can tell you. He says, I know that would never happen to me in your country. If I, as a Filipino, went to the United States to visit my parents in Chicago and something like that happened, I could report that business establishment, and I know that business establishment would be shut down. They would be canceled they would never be in business again. That guy's life, whoever did that, would be ruined, because in the United States, we do not discriminate. Okay, it happens, but it's wrong, and we know it's wrong. And when it does happen, and we find out about it, those people are summarily dealt with. And I explained to my son how even if there's somebody in our country from a different country, even if they're here not legally, they cannot be abused or have crimes committed against them without their abuser or the criminal that assaulted them or committed a financial crime against them, like happened to me and Ray, they will be held to account. They will be prosecuted. You can't just freely go out and commit crimes against somebody in our country because they're not here legally. No. That, as I tell my son, is what makes this country, one of many things, in my humble opinion, is what makes this country the greatest country on earth. If you are on this soil, you are protected by the United States Constitution, whether you're here legally or not. You're a human being, and no one can legally commit crimes against you, physically, sexually, financially. They cannot break into your home and clear out all your furniture, leaving you with no recourse because you're not a U.S. citizen. Let's say you're here, if you go to the police, well, you know, you're not a citizen, so we can't really do anything about you having all the furniture in your house stolen. That sounds ridiculous to us, right? For all of you Americans or maybe Canadians or Europeans watching who've never left your country, you think that there's no way that could be true. That is true. Cross my heart, or as they do it in the Philippines, cross my throat. It's true. And anybody who's been to these places and have gotten off the tourist trail, I'm not talking about the guys that meet their women online and go over for 20 days and stay at a resort. They're like, because they don't believe this stuff. You tell them, they're like, I never experienced that. I never saw that. Yeah, of course you didn't. You never left the resorts. You get out among the communities, among the people, off the tourist trail, that's when you find out. And I spent years out there living that way. All right? Now, what's this have to do with AI and this great threat? Here it comes, the meat and potato of the story. I remember feeling like a commodity all the times when those things would happen. I remember we were going to buy land over there one time, and me and Dearly and I were riding around on our little motorcycle. We were out in the jungle, and we found this place that was on the beach. Because it's islands. It's 7,107 islands. You go just about anywhere, you're going to find beachfront property. You get it for next to nothing. Well, we found one such lot. It was about an acre. It was big. And it was maybe in US dollars, 20 grand. And it was on the beach. Yeah. So we went to inquire about it. And the person that was the caretaker for the land, we rolled up. He saw us. He's like, Americano, your husband Americano, or Imu Isawa Americano, which means your husband. She's like, yeah, but we see, this land's for sale. So he gets on the phone, and it turns out there were 4 lots. One was his, and the other 3 belonged to his siblings. Well, they would only let us buy the lot we wanted if we bought all 4. Why? Because they all wanted to benefit from this foreigner rolling up looking to buy land. So no, we could not buy just one acre lot on the beach. We had to buy all 4. Well, at that time, we had the money to buy 1 lot, but we didn't have the money to buy all 4. So they refused to sell it to us. And a couple months later, 4 different people had bought all 4 different lots. It's how it goes. And there's nothing that was discrimination in housing or land, whatever. So here's the deal. It was because I was white. And I thought, how terrible to be made to feel like this. Because I'm me, I have to pay. And no more than any of those people chose to be born brown and poor in the Philippines. I didn't choose to be born white and poor, by the way, in Appalachia. Grew up, worked my way out of that. But nobody wants to hear that part of it. No. Don't want to hear that part of it. So anyway, AI is doing the same thing right now. But they don't care. AI doesn't care about the color of your skin. It doesn't care about your gender or your gender identification. It doesn't care about your sexual preferences. It doesn't care about your religion. All it cares about is your money. And let me tell you, that's the reality of the guys and the girls at the top. I'm going to go back and talk briefly about a little bit of U.S. history many of you have probably never heard about. Some of you might have forgotten. Some of you it might ring a bell, and some of you might know it more explicitly than me. It's called Bacon's Rebellion. I'm here in Virginia, Central Virginia, and back when we were a British colony, more than a century before the Revolution, this was back in the early 1600s, okay, 150 or 160 years before we became a nation. There was the Yorktown colony down just beside Jamestown there in Virginia, and land was being granted to people from the king. If he liked you, you were your buddy, you were some rich dude in England, some rich family, you were granted 5,000 acres in Virginia, right? There's still in my county, Albemarle County, Virginia, there's a 5,000 acre tract still intact, still owned by the family it was granted to 25 generations ago. They've somehow managed to keep it. Good for them. This is how it went. So if you're over here and you were a serf, so let's say you said, okay, yeah, I'll go to the New World. I'll work for free for 7 years in exchange for my freedom. Then, maybe I'll be able to get something over there. Indentured servitude. You never hear about that. The Irish were enslaved, even going back before this in their homeland, but whatever. We don't want to hear this stuff. Let's get to Bacon's Rebellion. So there's this colony, Yorktown. A lot of the folks, the have-nots, are realizing that the haves got a lot more going on for them than they do. And a lot of it were privileges that were just granted to them by the king because of who they knew, who they were. Well, the have-nots went to the ruling class and said, listen, we want a little bit more of what you got, a little bit more of that. And the biggest thing was just simply protection from the Indian marauders. The Native American Indians would watch the people out working the crops, harvesting the crops, watch them do all this work and then wait and then come in at night under the cover of darkness and take what they've worked all year to grow, be it cotton, tobacco, food stuffs, steal it. And then who would they sell it to? They would sell it to these lords who owned the estates where the servants were working at a much more attractive price because they got something out of it. The serfs, they got something for their efforts. Once the lords took it, shipped it to England, sold it, they got a little bit of a cut, but it wasn't much. What they found was that they gave the Native American Indians who were going in and stealing the stuff even less of a cut, so their profits were even larger. So when the working class folks came to the haves, when the have-nots came to the haves and said, look, you got to give us better protection against these Indians because, they said, oh, yes, oh, yeah, we will, but they never did, okay? Because, well, shoot, they'd have to pay for that protection, which cut into their profits, and they were making higher profits when these people were having their stuff stolen and sold on the black market anyway. So they didn't care. They cared about the money. Well, a guy whose last name was Bacon, I think, was it Edward Bacon something? Ralph Waldo Emerson Bacon, I don't know. Yeah, that's a joke. They led a rebellion. They were like, okay, we're going to defend ourselves. Well, when the Indians came in to steal stuff, they would defend their goods and their stuffs, and there were battles, firefights going on, and people were dying. Well, then the Indians were upset, so they went to the haves and says, hey, you got to protect us from your have-nots because we can't get in there and steal their stuff if they're shooting at us, and they're later turn around and sell it to you at a lower cost. Ooh, so then the hierarchies, they were really challenged, like, oh, how do we do that? What do we do here? Well, eventually Bacon and his men tried to overthrow the haves. They're like, we're just going to get rid of you. We're going to come in because we're clearly providing our own defenses against these Indians. The U.S. Revolution almost happened 160 years before it happened because of this. And what it goes back to was greed. The haves making sure they had it all and not caring about the needs and the efforts of the have-nots, okay? Well, the rebellion failed because Bacon himself ended up dying from lice. He had lice so bad over his body, he got infections. Somehow, and you can Google this, people used to actually die from lice infections. That's how he died, so he was no longer there. He was a great leader, so the haves were able to overthrow the have-nots. And once the haves overthrew the have-nots, they sat together among themselves and they said, how do we keep these people from ever forming together as one unit like that and trying to overthrow us ever again? Because that was a close call. We got to make sure we, the haves, retain our rule over the have-nots. They thought, well, let's take a look here. Who are the have-nots? They were free whites. They were indentured whites. There were free blacks. There were enslaved blacks. There were Native American Indians who had assimilated into the society and were living within society. And I have said, you know what? This is how they're different. Their skin color is different. Their ethnicities are different. Their backgrounds are different. We've got folks who were brought here from different continents. European, free whites, servitude whites. We got folks who were brought here from Africa as slaves. We got folks who have come here by whatever means who are black, who are free, but they are black. And we have the Native American Indians, of course. Their skin tone is different than the blacks and the whites. What if we do this? And this is what they did. They gave different privileges to the people within their society based upon literally the color of their skin. Now, of course, they gave the free whites the most privileges. Why? Because the free whites at least looked more like them, looked like the haves, the have-nots. You put them in the same outfits, you put them side by side, they're both white, and you say which one of these people are rich, which one is poor, you're not going to be able to tell. But the people of color, let's make sure they have less rights, because you can more distinctively see that they're different than us based upon the color of their skin. So we'll give free blacks less privileges than free whites, but more privileges than enslaved blacks, okay? And more privileges, say, than Native American Indians. Now, Native American Indians are next, and then, of course, slaves are at the bottom of the totem pole as far as privileges go and rights. Well, what this did, and the ruling class saw that this would work, is that it got the have-nots to start infighting. Because the people who were beneath, say, for instance, the free whites, these free whites were not rich, okay? But they did have more privilege than people of color. Well, they began, rather than resenting the haves, they started resenting their fellow have-nots just because they were allowed to do a little bit more in their society than they were based upon the color of their skin. In time, and soon, it didn't take a long time for this to happen, the infighting among the have-nots based upon differences that they could see, while the haves sat back and laughed, celebrating because it worked. It worked, and that's where we've been ever since. So what I will tell you, take a black man or an Asian man who grew up in a similar background as I did, who has a similar education level, a similar income level, similar financial situation to me. I promise you, I will have more in common with that black man or that Asian man or that Native American Indian man that fits that description than I would another white man who is from mega wealthy trust fund family, or a white man who is from the trenches and never got out, who was born into cyclical generational lack of education and lack of financial privilege, such as myself. But whereas I worked my way out of that, if I were to go back to somebody who's still there, I probably wouldn't want to talk to that dude for 2 minutes, because what the hell do we have in common? You know, most people don't get this. The power people, the ones calling a shot, they get it. They do not care about your color, the color of your skin. They don't care about your gender identification, your skin color, or your sexual preferences. They don't care. They care about money. They don't care about money. And if you got a lot of it, you can be in their club. If you don't, you can't. All right? And one of the ways they keep us from joining their club is by keeping us fighting amongst ourselves we think we have limited resources. That's crap. There's so much out here for all of us. It's just that 3% of the population control 97% of it. The other 97% of us are squabbling over the 3% that's left. But so few people see it. Okay, and here we are today. Now, what's this have to do with AI and what Elon Musk warned us about? Why did you tell us that story about your experiences in the Philippines? Was that just to knock a different culture? No, absolutely not. I love parts of that culture. I love parts of that country. I've spent probably 8 years of my life in the past living over there, and I'll tell you, when my kid's grown and out of school, I'm probably going to spend half my time over there. That's just how it goes. We're just always going to come back and forth, okay? It's to hopefully wake people up who are still asleep. This whole woke movement, listen, it's idiocy, because if you think for a minute our major problems are that people aren't accepting you because you woke up as a boy today and you want to be a girl, no. The powers that be are loving the wokeness right now, because that's keeping us down there in that battle, in that fight. Because we're fighting over stupid stuff, not realizing they're controlling 97% of everything there is out here to be enjoyed, while we fight over this and other stupid things and wrestle around for the 3% they leave us. Hey, put that aside. Oh, you woke up a boy, you want to be a girl? Okay, great. Hey, let's go out there and work together as a team, focus on the things we have in common, and get more of what we want, and stop settling for less because we think this is the issue, and actually it's not. This is it's like feeding chickens. Okay, we have quails right now. I don't like chickens. They're dirty, they're loud, they're filthy, they stink. Quails are wonderful. They're small, they're quiet, they're cleaner, they don't make a lot of noise. They kind of feed the same way though. But chickens, you go out, you got 10 chickens, right? You have a 5-gallon drum of chicken feed. What happens when you throw some chicken feed out? All 10 chickens go to it. What happens if you take another hand of feed and you throw it a couple feet away from that pile? Do 5 of the chickens stay there and the other 5 come over here because they see, hey, there's enough here for all of us? No. All 10 of them race to that pile. And you can continue to do this. All 10 chickens will race to the pile you just threw out, and they will fight and squabble and peck and kick each other over that pile. Yeah, you can look over and you can see there's 4.5 gallons of chicken feed right there nobody's touching, because they think the same way we do. And the powers that be know it. They're the guys and the girls throwing out the feed, watching you fight over this little bit, knowing there's a whole heck of a lot more of it over there. Oh, we'll hate each other. If you got more than me, I will hate you. Why? Because you now have more than me. People will love you, or they'll at least accept you if they think you're at their level or a little bit beneath them. Come on, you've seen this. They say you can tell who your friends are during hard times. Let me tell you this. What I found is you can tell who your friends are during good times too. Because once you advance to a certain point, and you get to a certain level, they're going to think you're uppity. They're going to think that you think you're something you're not. It's called crab mentality. Because see, they're not willing to do what is required to go after the rest of the feed. It's all out there. They want to stay in that soul trap, the system they learned through the public schools, getting that good job that's got health insurance and maybe a retirement plan, maybe not. But no. But you're fighting over that little, man, there's so much feed out there. But yeah, you go out there and get it, and you'll see how many of your friends really aren't your friends. They won't be happy for you. Listen, anytime you have a success in your life and the people in your circle aren't there celebrating with you, or if they don't celebrate it when they find out about it, they don't belong in your circle. I'm serious. You go out there, you hit a home run, you'll find out. You hit a grand slam, you'll find out how many of your friends really aren't, because they're not standing up, clapping and cheering for you. Yeah. So anyway, that's where we are, and here's what AI has to do with it. Who's heard of a grocery store chain named Kroger's, or Kroger? All right, it's common in the mid-Atlantic. I don't know how far south or north or west it goes, but they're all over. Maryland, Virginia, the Carolinas. There's some in West by God, Virginia. I don't know how far they go over. But they're doing exactly what I just told you about what people in non-white third world countries do when they see white foreigners, what the rulers of Bacon's Rebellion did, and it's all based upon money. Here's what they're doing. They're integrating AI live time, real time into their shelves at the store for pricing. How so? Listen. There's a woman, a senator or a congresswoman, somebody out there, I can't remember her name, you can Google it. I can't remember her party affiliation. As a matter of fact, the headline caught my eye, and when I read about her, because she's trying to protect us from this, I intentionally skimmed over what party she was with because I didn't want to be swayed. I have my views. I was more concerned with the content of the story because this is something Elon Musk has been warning us about. It's something I've experienced firsthand, and I've experienced it with AI too. And let me tell you this, before I go into what Kroger's doing, I'm going to give you an example of how I've experienced this because I know you have too. It's been around for years on the internet. It's just now coming to Main Street in the actual brick and mortar stores that are still here that haven't been put out of business by the internet, such as grocery stores, which in time will also be put out of business. You know, you can get your medications on Amazon now, not sponsored, even though, hey, I love Amazon. I make a ton of money every year by publishing my books on Amazon. I'm an Amazon affiliate marketer. Appreciate it when you guys do your Amazon shopping through our affiliate link because we get commissions. I love it. Instead of complaining about what they're doing, I see, okay, how can I benefit from what they're doing? And I jump in there and I go get my feed from the other piles too. While everybody's fighting over the pile, I'm out there trying to get it from the other piles, okay? So this isn't a knock on Amazon, but this is what they do. Movies. I'm an Amazon Prime member. You go in there and you'll see certain movies that are free. They're free to watch. It's like, oh, great, these are free to watch and I actually like this movie. Watch one or two of them for free and then go back and look at similar movies in that same genre that used to be free. Screenshot it. Take a picture with your phone. Those movies, those videos now are no longer free. They're for rent or they're to buy. Or if you're renting, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, we watched the Scary Stories franchises. Oh, wow, look, this movie's free. Part 2's free. By the time you get to part 3 out of 5 or 6 or 8, you got to rent them. Why? Because their AI is set up to see that interested in this product, you're consuming this product, well, they know they have an opportunity to make money from you, because if you watch this movie, you're more, it'll say, you can scroll down, it'll say, your picks, movies we think you would like based upon movies you viewed. These computers know what you're into, brah. They know. The technology is there now to where they know what you're thinking. Here it is. How many times have you talked about something in your house? How many times have you said to somebody in your house, I was at so-and-so's house the other day and they had this really neat electric fan. I would like to get a fan like that. It also has lights on it. It's chargeable. It stays active. The battery will last for 100 hours if it's fully charged. That would be a nice fan for us to have for when the power goes out in the summer. Plus, it has the lights for when it gets dark. Then you go to the internet, you get online, you're scrolling on Facebook or whatever, YouTube, and then you're served ads for that product. You know that's real, right? That's AI. They can now do that without hearing you speak the words. Because your phone, and every time you go get a new one, you get an upgrade. I did this yesterday. Dearly, I got her the new iPhone 16. It's her birthday. Happy birthday, Dearly. Got her an iPhone 16, and I'll go ahead and tell you, I'm taking her to Hallow Scream at Busch Gardens in Williamsburg. We love that. We haven't been there for a few years. That's her birthday gift. When they transfer the data to your new phone, all that stuff they know about you goes to that new phone. They've been tracking you for so long. They know so much about how you think. They're serving you products. You might have thought about a product this morning or yesterday, but never spoke the words. They're going to serve you ads for that product. I know you've seen that. That's how it works. Yes, it's scary. Now, in one sense, you think, oh, this is beneficial. It saves me from having to seek out what I'm looking for because I already know. Yes, and that's a benefit. Here's one of the dangers. The way Amazon does it now, they know what you like. So that very movie, we've done this. My wife will sign in on her account. I'll sign in on my account. There are times when the movie we're looking at on my account, we have to pay to rent. On her account, it's free. Proof right there, okay? Trigger alert, I'm going to wipe my nose with my sleeve like a 3-year-old, and that causes some people to crash out or lose their crap. Sorry, it's morning, okay? I didn't come prepared, and I've been talking for 42 minutes. So here's what's Kroger doing. Here is what Kroger is doing and what this woman is trying to protect us from. They are putting sensors on the shelves that will read facial recognition. So they know who buys what and how much. Here's where the discrimination is going to come in. And it's not based upon your skin color. It's not based upon your gender or your gender identification. It's not based upon your political beliefs. It's not based upon any of that stuff that the haves have the have-nots fighting over. It's going to be based upon your money. How much money if you go to the grocery store and you spend $300 or $400 every time you go, if you're one of the, listen, if this is one of the things we love about our lives today, is that if we go to the store, we go to the grocery store, we see stuff we want, we throw it in the cart, we don't even check the price because we don't have to. I know them grocery prices are high in the store. They're up 30% over the last 4 years, even though incomes are not. And I'm going to stop right there before I say anything political. That's just the reality we live in. But my family and I have been blessed, and we've done so well with the work we do on social media and the book sales. Doesn't bother. We just, whatever we want. So we'll go, it's $400, okay, whatever. We don't even balance our checkbook. We don't care because it doesn't matter. We weren't always like that. We were down and out in the Philippines. We were starving. 15 years ago, or 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. We were feeding our kid, but we were going to bed hungry because we just didn't have it. We were checking the price of everything, okay? So we've really come a long way. Here's how that AI is going to discriminate against people like me, okay? I live right outside of Charlottesville. I go grocery shopping in Charlottesville. Charlottesville is full of well-to-do people. Some of them are born into wealth. A lot of them are like me. They worked hard to make themselves wealthy. There's a university here, so there's lots of diversity. So, hypothetically, let's say you have a man or a woman who is from India, Indian, Chinese, Mexican, some other country. So they're not white. They're not a well-to-do, post-middle-aged white dude, okay, with all this privilege, okay? They're a person of color. They're a well-to-do person of color with all the privilege. Because let me tell you, money buys it. I don't care what color your skin is. If you're well off financially, you can really enjoy a good life, okay? So here's a person of color going through the grocery store, throwing stuff in the cart, price doesn't matter. That shelf, that AI on that shelf sees that person, knows who they are, knows how they spend, knows that they don't have to count the price. So guess what? That box of, let's say it's a container of chicken broth, okay? That AI might know to put the AI chip that's going to determine your price when you get to the register or while you're paying, because you know the technology is there now to pay as you go. Scan, put it in your cart, scan, put it in your cart, pay on their little scanner, leave the scanner. Kroger does this, leave the scanner at the door. You don't even have to go through the line, okay? And if you're trying to get out of there with something you didn't scan, the alarms will go off. A lot of this technology is beneficial, but here's where it's harmful. They're going to charge you $4.99 for that carton of chicken broth. Whereas let's say the next guy coming through, let's say they're white, but let's say they're a working class, lower socioeconomic, like this is the guy that isn't the doctor at UVA. This is the guy that maybe is the custodian at UVA. Respectable job, long hours, hard work, dude's taking care of his family, respect. Okay, but instead of making 800 grand a year, dude's making 42 grand a year, 38 grand a year. He grabs that carton of chicken broth to put in his cart. That AI reads that, facial recognition knows who it is. It's only $3.99. Okay, $3.99 is the base price. What are you thinking? Well, it's just $1. What's that going to hurt that other guy? That's the same attitude they have in places like the Philippines when I go and they say, oh, come on, yeah, we charge you, instead of charging you 20 pesos for that bottle of water like we would if you were brown, we charge you 40 or 50 pesos for it because you're white. It's only $1 for you. What's it matter? AI is saying the same thing. Oh, well, it's just $1 more for you. What's it matter? And you make 400,000 more than that guy, so what's it matter? Yeah, we add the $1 for that product to the $1 to the other product to the $20 for that set of tires you just mind to put on your car, because this is where it's going, folks. This is just the beginning. It's not the end. So basically, if you follow the algorithm of what they're trying to do at Kroger now and you let that evolve and emerge and go to where it's going to go, you might be that well-to-do doctor at UVA Hospital making 800 grand a year. You could be scratching your head at the end of the year trying to figure out why you're not any better off than the custodian who's making 42 grand a year. That sounds extreme, but that's where it's going. Because that custodian might spend, let's say, $500 a month on his groceries because he's really good at budgeting, because he has to be. And so by the end of the year, he spent $6,000 on groceries. You, the doctor or the dentist, has bought the exact same thing that custodian has, but by the end of the year, instead of spending $6,000 on it for your groceries, you spent $15,000. And it's all going to add up, and it's going to be justified based upon your individual financial situation, and it's all going to be determined by facial recognition through AI that already knows everything about you. Fortunately, this woman, I don't know if she's a Democrat or a Republican, she sees it. These are the things Elon Musk has warned us about. She's trying to get in there and do something about it to prevent this from happening. But folks, let me tell you, it's coming, because it's already here. It's already here. And those of us who are aware have seen it. We've watched it. I've worked in social media for 15 years. I've seen this stuff coming, okay? But if you're woke and you think you know, you're an idiot. You're over there fighting over that one pile of chicken feed your slave masters just threw out for you. You're over there fighting over dumb stuff. While they're saying, man, they'll never see the other 4.5 gallons. They're fighting over that because we've got them convinced that these differences are what matters. They're fighting over the differences. They'll never know what we're doing behind the curtains. Wake up and become aware. Okay? Hope you got something out of this. Thanks for giving me your time. We'll see you for more next time. From the greatest homesteading channel on the planet that's got nothing to do with homesteading. Quite a few things to do about reality in life. Homesteading off the grid. See you next time.